Opening program parameters. Player code established. Welcome to the program. A production of themetalrobot.com.
Nobody cares about the robot gimmick. Just start the fucking show already.
Humans are determined assholes. This is the Metal Robot Podcast. Initializing playback.
Welcome to MRP, the Metal Robot Podcast, the podcast about all things metal and everything in between. We are back, baby! About fucking time, eh? It's been 3 weeks and 4 separate desk orders from Amazon just to get us set up so I can get you a quality podcast. Now, I won't go into detail as to why, as that would be an episode in itself, but let's just say that if Bezos can take 5 minutes away from building penis rockets to fix his multi-million-dollar business model, that'd be very nice. But that out of the way, we're back with a great show, including Scattered Hamlet Part 2, continuing from the last episode. I also sit down with the Twitch drumming superstar Sunfyre TV about a recent rise to Twitch fame and so much more. We also have news of the week to follow, but coming up in a few short moments, we'll get into that new Ibaraki album and many others. All this and more, so let's not waste much more time and let's get into the show. I'm Tom McKay, and this is the Metal Robot Podcast.
You're listening to MRP, the Metal Robot Podcast.
Welcome, one and all, to the Metal Robot Podcast. Let's begin the show once again after too fucking long. I swear, one of these days I will tell you the story. But let's begin with this week's reviews. Holy shit, this was a star-studded week, as we'll get into in a bit. We, of course, also had plenty of albums from outside of the star-studded lineup that are also worth talking about as well. So let's get into it. If you have any albums you want me to talk about on future episodes of the podcast, send me an email, tmckay@themetalrobot.com. That's TMCKAY at themetalrobot.com. Or reach out on my socials, Facebook and Twitter at The Metal Robot, Instagram at @the.metalrobot. Tag me in a post, use the hashtag Metal Robot Podcast so I can find you. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at what we've got. Ibaraki's Rashomon. Raise thy hands. How many have been waiting for this one? Whoa, Jesus! Wow, that's a lot of you. Good news, the wait was so worth it. Holy shit, this might actually be one of the best black metal albums released this year. And I know that can easily be considered biased, seeing as Matt Heafy is behind this masterpiece, and I'm a huge Trivium fan, but let's be real with ourselves. That's exactly why this was destined to work so well. Not necessarily because he's a bigger name in the metal world, but because he's an excellent songwriter in almost any genre he's a part of, and that skill and talent comes out in full with Rashomon. This album is heavily based on Matt's Japanese-American identity and his experiences finding his voice, according to the website. And reading the lyrics and even hearing many of the melody choices and Japanese folk breaks, it's impossible to deny. Oh, but don't worry, True Cult Robots, there's plenty of intense black metal to enjoy on this album. From the blackened screech of Ibaraki Doji to the intense and chaotic Tamashii no Houkai, the almost terrifying sound of Akumu, thanks again Nergal, and onward. This is a true black metal album that even the most die-hard black metal fans can get behind, no matter who's behind it. And if you do need more proof that this is a black metal project with a black metal seal of approval, IHSAHN of Emperor is on it. Yeah, that IHSAHN. He provided some guitar solo work and even gave Matt the nod of approval after hearing early demos. But of course, there's also super surprising moments that anybody else would probably find really interesting, such as on Ronin. Do I even need to say what that surprising moment is? Like, who the fuck expected the protagonist of Welcome to the Black Parade to be a gremlin from the abyss? It's nuts! When you break it all down though, despite being made by a commercial success such as Matt Heafy, Ibaraki shows a love and adoration for a genre that many have closed off. Maybe even bringing in new fans who might think, well, if this is what some black metal sounds like, what else does the genre offer? Now, I know many true cult metal fans have recoiled at the thought of infidels coming into their ranks, but crawl out of your mom's basement for 5 minutes and show your new friends a good time. It's okay for new people to get into your favorite genre. All in all, this is hands down one of the best black metal albums I've heard all year, regardless of who's behind it. 15 out of 15, highly recommend you step your toes into this feudal demon's mouth. That came out wrong. Or did it? Depressed Mode, Decade of Silence. Can you guess what the genre is with that band name? If you said anything other than doom metal, you're wrong. Specifically, they are symphonic doom death metal from Finland, releasing this third album of theirs after 13 years of nothing at all. Starting this album on Death Walks Among Us, and you already get a sense of the symphonic aspect of being extremely prominent throughout this piece, and it's absolutely the case. I'm not entirely sure if they hired an actual orchestra or did the 21st century bedroom guitarist move by buying the East-West sound library, but the orchestra is a massive part of this slow burn of an album. The riffs from Timo Heinola are slow and chugging, complemented by Henri Hakala's bass, but it's the drums from Ido Aitokoski that are giving this album the slow crawl this genre is known for. To be clear, it's not all Matrix slow motion the entire time. They do go as fast as a mid-tempo groove, but that's basically it. It's no different from most doom metal out there. What I think I like most about this, though, is the incorporation of the orchestra. While Otto Salanen's vocals are for sure a great feature with this rumbling growls and sorrowful cleans, the orchestration adds a sort of cinematic vibe, almost like watching a movie about a guy falling deeper and deeper into a lonely depression and ending the movie at the protagonist's lowest point, which, great movie! 10 out of 10! IGN would game again, man! But of course, I wasn't joking about the slow burn part either. If you're the kind of metalhead who needs speed to be injected into your veins, then you're going to be glad that your dickhead friend switched it out with juiced marijuana, because this is going to be moving so slow while the THC enters your bloodstream. You should probably get that checked out, by the way. I don't think that can be healthy at all. While this moves slightly faster than you might expect and is easy to digest even if you prefer faster songs, this isn't a punk or thrash album. You're going to be bored to tears if you're not careful. That even being said, I'd still say check it out. Front to back, Decade of Silence is a journey through the depressing world of insert 2020 joke here, and it never lets up. If you want a cinematic metal experience, a solid 13 out of 15 should be more than enough to give it a spin. Maybe not a quick spin, but a spin nonetheless. Oh, that opening is so fucking good! Oh, I shit myself! Oh, it's so good. But Halestorm is not only back with a new album, they're back from the fucking dead with it. And they want to make sure you don't ever fucking forget it. And before someone says it, no, I'm fully aware, Halestorm is not a metal band per se, but since when do metalheads actually stick with conventional labels when the hard rock world can get just as metal when it wants to? I do expect your blasphemous tweets to be coming in my inbox shortly. But no, seriously, you don't want to sleep on Halestorm this time out. From the title track onward, this album barely lets up in its intensity and sheer fire. Lizzie's voice is still as strong and powerful as ever, and the drums from RJ just as much are contributing to that forcefulness. Of course, we can't forget about Joe Hottinger and Josh Smith's contributions either. They do add quite a bit to this band's sound. While technically Halestorm actually could easily have been a brother-sister duo the entire time, I don't think we would have gotten such a full and brunt-forced sound from this band without the full lineup we've got. Actually, wait, I think they did release music as a duo. Can we play the tape? Wow! That is a drastic shift. You know what? Forget I said anything before. I can't fault them for they were like, what, 13 or 11 years old? Who cares? This album front to back is a treat for any Halestorm fans or any listeners who don't mind diving into the hard rock world a bit. The only gripe that I have is that this album doesn't fix one of the bigger problems that Halestorm has had for a long time. While it's forceful, you can't feel the energy that these guys actually have when playing live. This has always been a thing that even Corey Taylor of Slipknot pointed out to Lizzie Hale's face.
I think your recorded albums do not capture just how awesome you are live. and people don't even realize it. There's something that's so visceral and real that with the right producer, the right recording, it would be probably one of the best rock and roll albums to come out in like 10 years, 15 years, 20.
And I can't actually explain why that is, but if I can recommend anything to Lizzie and company to at least maybe get closer to that, have you guys tried recording off the floor, onto tape? You never know, it could, or hell, even just off the floor, live recording. You guys have such an infectious energy live, why not try to capture that and put it to print? Just saying. But really, that's a nitpick more than anything else. While I would like to hear that kind of live energy captured in the studio one day, the fact is that these guys are terrific songwriters who have no problem including clean metal production to get the sound they can really appreciate in a studio setting. With a pretty impressive 14 out of 15, you really can't go wrong with a Halestorm record. But guys, for real, off the floor. Think about it. Trust me. So, Molten Chains is something I wasn't expecting with their new album Orisons of Vengeance. The first thing you notice is the weird hybrid thing we have going on with the death and thrash metal backing, but straight up heavy metal type vocals. You think I'm joking? Did you not hear the music in the opening? You can't fake that! So let's start with what I really enjoyed. The uniqueness I felt in that first track, Hand of God. It's such a huge shock to hear two things that usually don't go together being used together. And I gotta say, being someone who listens to at least 4 or more albums a week, it's a massive breath of fresh air to hear. And as it goes on, it starts to incorporate some thrash elements too, but it still keeps some of that identity of being quirky and weird compared to many of their beer-chugging, made-in screeching peers. And major props to these guys, they keep that kind of insanity going for the entire 36-minute run length. But the downsides of this album is that, well, once the initial shock value wears off, you start to notice its biggest flaw. It feels long, which is particularly weird because this album is the opposite in reality. Kinda like what your girlfriend feels when you fuck her after sending the photo stretch dick pic. Not a smart move in retrospect, eh? After the adrenaline calms down from hearing something completely out there, you really feel it drag, and it kinda lulls you into this sort of slow, plodding kind of thing. Like, it really feels way too long, almost like you're looking at the clock the entire time, like, when is this? Are we done yet? Is this towards the end of the album? Until the album actually does end and you forget where the fucking time went. I shit thee not. It felt so long for me, but then I almost forgot that it's a 36-minute album, so when it ended for me, I was almost impressed, because you created an album that was short but felt long, yet still had me realizing, oh yeah, this is a short album. Wow. Like, I almost want to give you bonus points for that if I wasn't questioning whether my ADHD was acting up again. For real, ask anybody with ADHD, they'll tell you time blindness is a real hell of a thing. Now, while I am talking massive shit right now, I still think this album was really good, despite the slow feeling it gave me, including with those 8-minute songs that, let's be honest, probably didn't need to be 8 minutes long. It was a different album from the norm. It has traits that pull from every extreme genre known to metal man, but it brings them together in a way that didn't feel jarring or out of place. The off-putting combination of extreme metal instrumentation with heavy metal vocals might take a bit of getting used to for some, but overall, I'll give this a 12 out of 15. It's a really intriguing listen, and one I'd be remiss if I didn't at least recommend once. And that's it for reviews. Like I said earlier, send your emails to teammckay@themetalrobot.com or reach out on my socials for any albums you would like covered on the podcast or on the main YouTube show. Coming up, Sunfyre TV will be joining us to talk all things Twitch and bananas. We'll be right back on the Metal Robot Podcast. I want to say I understand, and yet I'm hurt. If I wasn't rocking out so much, I'd be scared shitless. You broke my cheese-o-meter 2.0. I wouldn't sleep on this one if you don't identify yourself as Petrucci Butt Pirates. Part MDM, part progressive, part blackened. Oh, fuck. This is not a thrash metal album. Thrash heads expecting a beer-infused fuckfest will have a heart attack.
New installment of the fan favorite series 10 Second Purge. Only on
Metal Robot Reviews.
Looking to stay up to date on all things Metal Robot?
No, not really.
What? Why?
I don't listen to metal.
How are you listening to this podcast?
I thought it was Joe Rogan.
We're gonna pretend he didn't say that.
Follow the show wherever you tread on social media.
Facebook and Twitter.
At The Metal Robot.
Instagram.
At The Metal Robot. You can even join the Metal Robot Discord server.
We have fun there.
Links to all of that and more in the description of this podcast. Follow
Now, you're listening to MRP, the Metal Robot Podcast.
Tom McKay on the Metal Robot Podcast. Glad you're in the pit for this one. You may know my first guest today as loud Hispanic chick drummer, or some of you actually know her as that Toad TikTok, but only the real OGs know her as Banana! And I'm stoked to welcome one of the most popular metal Twitch drummers that's making the elitists shake their phones in anger for twerking to Megadeth, Sophia aka Sunfyre TV, to the Metal Robot Podcast. Sun, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so long. When was the first time we did this? Like 2019?
Oh my god, the first time we actually talked for the show was back in 2020.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then we talked again with Thomas Frank for the podcast as well. That was a few episodes ago.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I remember that. That was fun.
That was a lot of fun, yeah. I remember actually specifically there were like, when that ended up going up on YouTube, that is like the first podcast on the channel that blew up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I had to double check the analytics for it, but I believe the view count now is in the 200s.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah, so thanks for that. Really do appreciate that. But so it's been quite a bit since you were last on the show. What has happened since the last time you and Thomas were on the show? What's happened with you since the last time you were here?
Well, if our podcast was in 2021 or 2020,
I believe it was 2021 was the last time.
Well, it's been the same. Like, I've been doing the same thing on Twitch with costumes and drumming for many years, like since 2018, and you know this, or 19 basically. But I guess it was just depending on like the content that blew up. You know, the one that did blow up for me was Toad. So that's kind of like the one thing that is different now, that I kind of realized that with Toad and people loving the chaoticness of the stream and everything, and the costumes made me realize that I can just be myself and be chaotic and everybody's going to enjoy it, you know, because sometimes I would feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be so loud on stream and like not be so weird, in my opinion. Like before Toad blew up, I kind of like would hold on to like a lot of the chaos, but then now with like the voice acting, because Toad is voice acting, honestly. Yeah. And it's just me being like goofy. I now do that more, and it's fun. And so I didn't really do that much. I still do, like, if you watch like a lot of the Sunfyre old compilations, you can see me doing like you know, different voices. Different voices. Banana didn't exist until late 2021, because November I went to Arizona and my friend told me about Snapcam program that you can use on stream, and I'm like, I want to try it, and it was fun. And so I found Banana, and that was just like, everybody loved it, and then it evolved. So I guess ever since we spoke last time, it's just been like more, you know, the stream kind of just blew up in a way. It didn't blow up like to the thousands, but it kind of did make people find me more because of Toad. And I'm grateful for that. You know, like people stuck around just because of my drumming and my personality, not just because of one costume. So that's something that it's like the luck of that time and place, and uploading it to TikTok, you know, changed a lot of things. So,
yeah, I mean, that Toad TikTok really blew up. It was covered on like metal magazines. I remember you were sharing that out in the Discord, and like it was going everywhere because you were doing Metallica's One with that voice. So like, was that just like something you were like doing offhand, like because you were just you dressed up as Toad for that particular stream, or was that a specific Sunfyre goofs off moment, something that you realized, oh, there's a gap in the market, people need more Toad?
I honestly just like did that randomly, because I think my first Metallica One a cappella video that blew up in the summer of 2021, you know, kind of, I kept that in mind, that people liked the funny singing and the bad singing on purpose to a, you know, like, because like Metallica is very well known, and there's a lot of people that you know, like they want to be like, hey, this is my favorite band, how dare you disrespect it. Those are the viewers that are on one side, and then the other side are the, oh my god, this is hilarious, we need more of this. So that's why people blew that one up, and I kept it in mind, and I'm like, let's try that, but now with Toad. And I didn't think it was gonna be like a big deal, because I thought it was just like, and Toad, like the voice is like obnoxious, and I understand a lot of people hate it, and you know, it's very screechy and loud, but some people love that because it's hilarious, and it's so like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I could not stop replaying. I don't even have TikTok. I was playing like the Instagram version that you posted, and I could not stop looping it because it was just so fucking funny to me. I don't know. Maybe it was because like just the absurdity of Toad singing Metallica, or the fact that even when the drums went double time, you still kept going with Toad's voice. I think, I don't know why, I could not stop laughing. But of course, I'm not the only person who was doing that, but that was not the only reaction you got. I believe you were just talking about people also were not happy about that.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of Metallica fans that are very protective of Metallica, and they tell whoever it is that butchering that song that to stop and like never do it again. This is disrespectful. How dare you? And that to me is hilarious. That's why I keep doing it, and I keep calling Metallica Megadeth, and that's why. And now people kind of have gotten the gist of that's what I do, and now they go along with it. And every time I upload a cover of, I don't know, whatever, like let's say Foo Fighters, they go, oh my god, I love this, you know, Nickelback song, like whatever, because they always change the titles now. They always go with the wrong band, wrong title on purpose now, because they know that's my thing now. So that's cool. Everybody's on my side now, like joking. And then there's the new people that find that comment for the first time, and they go, excuse me? That's not, you know?
Excuse me? How dare you?
Yes. And so that's funny, because I'm making people angry, but I'm entertaining also like half of the people. So it's a 50. Actually, you know what? 5% are angry and 95% are happy. So that's how I see it now.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong about that, but I find it funny that like Metallica fans can get so defensive about whenever Metallica is like not taken seriously, but then when Metallica puts out a new record, they're like, "This is the worst Metallica album I've ever heard." Bring back Master of Puppets, like shit like that, you know. Like, I just find it funny how inconsistent most Metallica fans can be on the internet. It's kind of amazing, don't you think?
Tool fans are like that extreme too. It's just like those bands are just, you know, they're untouchable, but you want to touch the funny parts of the those bands, touch the funny parts of those bands, and then make these people angry, and it's hilarious. Because I remember I uploaded a cover of me doing 46 and 2 on TikTok, and then somebody was just like, I can't believe you uploaded something like this. This is so mediocre. Like, if you want to cover Tool, you better do it note for note. And I was like, okay, let's do it better. And then I just, you know, I uploaded, I respond, because you respond to comments on TikTok, and then that person sees it and they get even angrier, or they just block you, and then I just block them because who cares? Yeah. But I uploaded another version of that song with cowbell and like double time. I just changed the whole thing. So that's why it's like funny, just because it's funny to see how seriously people take music, and they have no sense of humor. And then that, in a way, on TikTok, when you reply to comments like that, it brings more viewers and more clicks in, because they see that there's like an argument or somebody's getting heated. And so they watch the video, and then they either support me. Most of the time they do, like, because I'm doing something that is so, like, I'm having fun with the salty comments, because that creates content, and also more people get to see like my humor, and it's kind of like a double win when there's like angry people. Obviously, I won't reply to. I think one time I replied to a guy that said, "Oh, and this video got a lot of views." It was a Toad video, and he was like, "This is obnoxious." I think it was the Metallica Toad video. So I replied to that, "This is obnoxious" comment with another Toad video, and that one also got more views. And so like it was kind of like there's a lot of traffic going on in January of this year. So with those Toad.
Yeah, Toad's been going crazy. And the funny thing is, like, this Sunfyre craze, as you mentioned, only began recently, like summer of 2021. But you've actually been doing like this cosplay stuff with the funny voices and all around like goofy trolling demeanor for years now, since arguably since you started doing drumming, including on TikTok when that started up. But why do you think it's only now? Like people are like, oh yeah, that's pretty funny. Like, do you think it's because of Toad doing Metallica, or what do you think it is?
I don't know. I think it's like, I sometimes think about if I never really dressed up as Toad and I never uploaded to TikTok, I don't know if I would have the same amount of new viewers and I doubled, or I think it was tripled my viewership on Twitch, because a lot of people keep coming from TikTok. I found your TikTok, you're so funny. And then they watch on Twitch, and then they stay there and they watch on Twitch. And like one video completely just, ever since it was that since the Toad, like it was just, I don't know if I would be here if it wasn't for Toad. I don't know if I should say that, or what would it ever happen if it wasn't for Toad? Would I be here?
Bless thee, oh holy Toad. Thank you.
Like, I don't understand. Like, it's crazy to know that so many people loved it. And and there's articles on Polygon now. Like, I don't know. It's just so crazy to know that one video with one costume. Like, why didn't it happen with the dinosaur? I thought that was hilarious. That's
the dinosaur, right. The dinosaur, or the sumo wrestler. I was sharing the sumo wrestler clips with friends, and they were fucking dying.
I know, that was funny. And there was a video actually that got a lot of views of the sumo with me doing like some sort of giant sticks too, like drumming giant sticks. I combine a lot of those things. That. And then I'm like, just like bouncing. Or I think it was the pink, the Kirby, because it was just a big pink ball. But like, there's so many costumes that I, in my opinion, thought they were hilarious. And I'm like, this is it. I'm going to go viral. And never did. And never did until I didn't think Toad would go viral. I just uploaded it like I normally do. Every stream, I sit down here and I look at the VOD because I don't save it on Twitch because of copyright music. So I clip and I make those little clips, a TikTok upload. And then that's every time I can't talk. Every time I end the stream, I go and I clip something from the stream and I upload it to TikTok. I've been doing that for a while now, and that's the one time that it blew up. So I don't know.
It's weird what people actually find funny and shareable, I guess. Because I don't know. I thought the sumo wrestler T-Rex inflatable costumes were fucking hilarious. Just because of the absurdity of trying to drum in those fucking behemoths.
I know.
How hard is it to actually move in those things?
It's hard because like the dinosaur face, it's bouncing a lot. There's like the space in front of my face, which is like the transparent plastic thing I have. Sometimes that transparent plastic has like the seam. It's like sewed very weird. And so sometimes it scratches my face. So that happens or it just keeps bouncing off so I just have to like, just keep my composure and try to like stay on time, even though it's uncomfortable, because I think what I mostly like focus on is to just follow the song, and it doesn't matter if I hit the rim instead or a lot of the times it gets in the way. Like with the sumo wrestler, the belly is on top of the snare. So it's just
that makes drumming a bit more difficult, doesn't it?
The fupa is on the snare.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to
the fupa's on the snare.
It's hard, but I try to.
Well, they also get extremely hot, don't they? Like it's especially when you're doing like so much physical activity. It must get really like
it's true.
Super warm in there.
They do. I had to remove I think it was one of them. I had to be like, oh my God, let me take a break and get out of here for a second. I think it was the dinosaur that I had to unzip and just stay unzipped for like 5 minutes and then go back. And then the Pikachu one. Do you remember? Did you see the time that I couldn't get out of the Pikachu
I think I
costume?
was there in the comments when it happened, like in the chat. When that happened.
The zipper was terrible. Like I couldn't unzip it from inside. And I'm like yelling like, I'm trying to get out.
It's like, shit, I'm going to have to live the rest of my life like this. Fuck.
Dude. Yeah.
Can you imagine going to like family dinners in a Pikachu costume? Just complete ADHD side note.
I want to, but I don't know if I should. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, if that ever happens, like take a picture and post it on the internet, that will go viral. That'll turn into a meme on its own.
Oh my God. No, you know what? The Pikachu at the mosh pit, I need to do that, even though they already did. But I want to do that someday. Like some people say like you should wear the Toad hat at a mosh pit and just go in there and like, like I need to. I don't know if I will this time because I'm going to go see Trivium on Tuesday and I need to decide whether I do it or not because I know like people around me are going to be so weirded out. Like, but at the same time, you have to not care about what the people around you think. Most of them are going to think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to be like, it's kind of like those YouTubers that do the public stunts and stuff. They don't care what people are thinking when they look at them weird, So
if anything, that creates like better video content because all of a sudden, like you see the camera zoom in on people's reactions of like, what the fuck is that dude doing?
I'm just so shy for public stuff, but I gotta maybe get into that sometime in the future.
Maybe
I
that
wanna
would
do
be
it.
pretty cool. But that would be pretty cool. But like this whole thing has obviously going viral. Has it affected things on Twitch? Because you've obviously seen the influx in viewers. But have you seen the influx and thought this is weird and changed up how you conduct yourself, or is it just business as usual and you just continue being a troll?
Yeah, I mean, like there's that change that more eyes are on me now. You know, you never know if there's gonna be like potential sponsors lurking and like watching how I act and if would they want to sponsor with me and stuff like that. But I don't think I've had like that happen with like people that never have sponsored me before. Only my current sponsors with Rode, you know, they're in the chat and stuff. You know, sometimes I kind of like my stream is PG-13, so you know, like mild sexual jokes are allowed and all that. But like, I obviously try to be, you know, like I don't like. There's just the streamer personality and then the off-stream personality. Like you can joke with your friends. Like there's a lot of the dark humor that I do off-stream and stuff. But like, you know, I try to keep it professional and everything because you never know who's watching, and you know, a lot of the stuff is just like a lot of people get. You know, it's weird because like, do you do all of it? You're like fully go as yourself, or do you kind of like you have to keep some of it inside and just be like a public figure because there's just like some things that I don't know. There's just unfortunately a lot of people get offended about a lot of things. So I try not to go with like the dark humor too much on stream.
Yeah, well, not to mention, of course, like when there's money involved, obviously things change pretty quickly. Yeah,
I just let the chat joke around you know with themselves and stuff, and like I'll laugh at some stuff and then whatever, but like me with the microphone, that's like the main thing people hear is my voice, so like I try to keep it a little bit on the gray area. And also there's a lot of creators that like go ham with like, you know, like Samus, he just goes full, like he told me actually, he goes, oh yeah, one of my sponsors asked me specifically not to say dildo. Like, so things like that, you know, like you have to kind of like, you know, do you want the sponsorship or not? You got to change a couple things about your vocabulary, but whatever. It's not too bad. You know, with the Toad and like people coming to me with like, you know, business opportunities for like sponsorships. A lot of times I don't understand contracts. So I had to talk to Kelborn, my husband. He is a mod in my chat also. For the people that are watching, I know you know him, but yeah. we were like, do we kind of just look for an agent now? Like, you know, talent manager, stuff like that. I think that we would be better off if we had extra hand, a little help when it comes to like contract reading and like, you know, do we sign with this person? Do we not? And so having an agent ever since Toad has helped with like bringing new people, like new sponsorships and like asking them, hey, does this sound legit? Is this weird? Like, can you give me your kind of like your knowledge on that? So that was something.
Wait, do you have an agent now, or is that just hypothetical? Oh, wow. When did this happen?
Right after Toad, because I did get a person reach out to me before Toad actually with the Metallica video that they found, the Capella one, that they wanted to use it for the Metallica 40th anniversary concert as an intermission like video. And they gave me all these like terms, and basically they said that they would own my image no matter what and stuff like that. So I'm like, I wish I had an agent at this, you know, this point in time. I didn't have an agent. So I declined because Kelvin was the one that was telling me like the whole legal stuff and how it didn't make sense to sign anything that they would own your image after, you know, you would give them the video for a Metallica show, right? Like, I don't want people to own anything image-wise of me. So, well,
especially because like you don't know if that would end up coming back to bite you when it comes to your streams. Because all of a sudden, like, do they now own your streams? Do they own what you do on Twitch or TikTok?
You never know.
So I guess it is like it very much is actually. Who am I kidding? It is a better move to have that go through like a talent agent who maybe would be able to decipher that a lot easier. But has it actually like helped with this kind of stuff going forward?
Yeah. So the talent agent looks at like people that email me with, you know, potential sponsorships, and they tell me, yeah, this is a good deal. Or, hey, let's do like a 3-way email and then let's like negotiate a better deal. So things like that happen now more. I got the HelloFresh 1 month thing that I was doing the cooking sponsorship, and then that was fun. Like I don't think I would have ever had that if I was alone. I wouldn't have ever reached out to them. So that was like the agent that found it for me. So things like that, they find sponsorships and sponsors that are looking for like short-term things and stuff like that, which I'm down, And I think this whole thing with like Toad and Twitch subs increasing and sponsorships paying for temporary streams and sponsorship streams has been helping towards my final goal and my ultimate thing is to move out of this house and get a studio. So it's been helping a lot for that. And I tell people on the stream every day that their subscriptions and everything that they do to support helps towards getting to that dream of me getting the studio and the acoustic set. So that's the thing I'm focused on right now, is just keeping my eye on that and saving up and all of that. So everything's been helping with that.
May I ask how close you are to that dream? Because I know this dream of yours been going on for quite a while now.
Yeah, I know. So we finally, after filing the taxes this year, we kind of we were like, we're going to talk, or Calvin was like, I'm going to talk to a contact agent that is a real estate agent. And so he gave us pretty much like a big picture of what it would be if we filed another tax year and show that income after this year, that I think that we would get a better loan for a house in 2023, early 2023 would be like possibly the time that I think that would happen. So I'm telling people like, I think one more year and we'll file taxes and then show that for the loan. And then maybe they'll give us I don't want to say maybe, but like it sounded like it was pretty possible. And I want that to be a thing. I want to believe it. I want to stay positive that that's like early 2023 is the day or the time that I will finally reach that. So yeah, that's the news so far with that, with the house. So.
Well, hopefully it gets to that point, because I know you've been wanting to do that for, God, how long now? Like, how long have you been talking about it on stream?
Well, I moved here in 2018, and then in 2019 was cool. 2021, was okay. And then 2020, like we were starting like, okay, it's been 3 years. We should like look into, or 2 years, sorry, look into it. 2020, 2021 has been 3 years. Okay. And so we were kind of keeping that in mind. But it's just like a lot of the issues with this house, it's a very old house. And so 2021 was just like, okay, we gotta make this happen soon. So yeah, it's better to own a house, but like to rent it at this point with our ages, like it's better to just save up to like buy a house instead of renting. But I mean, it's whatever people can afford at whatever age they are, but that's our mentality right now, that we don't want to rent anything. We could move out of here and rent something, but no, we're just waiting to get the better deal. So.
Right. So like going back to the viral success that you've seen so far, everyone seems to have a notion of what going viral means, or seeing some sort of success and fame, including how it affects one's personality. From what I'm understanding right now, you haven't begun slowly morphing into Kanye West and to just be on every stream, I am a god. You seem pretty humble still. Is that actually like, have you noticed any of that like maybe transpiring, or are you still as humble as ever?
I mean, yeah, because why would I mean, Banana, my character, but I do say that I'm proud of everything that I've built, but you should stay humble. A lot of people are very cocky, and that's kind of like their personality. I do sort of like act a little cocky when it comes to like, I know that I've built a lot of, from the ground up, my gear. I'm proud of it. It's right. Totally fine.
Right, but that's not really egotistical, is it? That's more like, you act. It's a statement of fact. You actually have like built this up from the ground. I only
state facts. Yeah, because why would you? I don't know. I don't like when people act like that, and so I try not to be what I don't like. But have you seen streamers do that? Because I don't know who was.
There was one. I still remember like at the beginning of the pandemic when everyone was unemployed. There was one streamer who was like talking about how like being out of work, there's no excuse for not subscribing or donating. And that clip went. Do you remember that? It was like
it's a girl, right? Yeah.
Yes. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. That clip went viral. It was talked about everywhere, and it was one of those things like
very shallow.
I'm sorry.
It was very shallow to say that.
Yeah. Absolutely, because especially at the timing of it too, when everyone was like the unemployment rate, I know, especially in the U.S., was so high at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously you haven't gone that route, which I think is pretty good.
No, I always say this to people in my stream: is hey, if you cannot donate or subscribe at this moment, that's totally fine. What matters to me is that you're here enjoying the stream and you're just watching, even if you don't chat, you're lurking and you're enjoying it. You have it open for a reason. Whatever reason it is, if you're enjoying it, I'm happy. And that makes, like, the stream is what it is because of you and all the lurks. You know, like, I count everybody that has it open, like, even if they're not chatting, if they're not donating, if they're not subscribing. And then that's just all you got to do is just, you know, randomly one day I just got a $3,000 donation and that went to savings. Like, I'm like, I told the person, like, holy crap, this has never happened to me. And like, you never expect those things, you know?
Yeah, no, of course you don't expect those kind of things.
Yeah, well, I would never say like, yeah, you guys should be doing, like, no, that's stupid. You just got to do your thing, and then random things happen, random acts of you know, love and donations happen randomly. And that's just how it is. You cannot tell people to do what, you know, that's messed up in my
it's sort of like, just like the donation button is there if you want it, but it's not something that you're like requiring for you to be able to comment or watch the stream or lurk. It's not like, oh, if you're here, you must have clicked it at least once. Right? Like, that's not. Or
like, there's the chats that's sub only and stuff, or like follow only. I never enable those things. It's free for everybody. You can
I have noticed that there's a lot, which is pretty good actually. I like the fact that you can get so many people like in the community just as interacting in the chat, and you're able to interact with them as well. I think that really does help build the community even further.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You can do like sub only streams and stuff like that, but don't have it all the time.
Yeah. Well, sub-only streams, like, that's I know most like streamers, like high-end, like Jacksepticeye level streamers will usually have that enabled if they want to slow down the chat as much as possible, which doesn't fucking work because it still fucking zooms by like a fucking Sonic the Hedgehog, right? But it's like, but even then, like, I haven't really seen that much happening on your Twitch chat.
I've never done that. I've never done a sub only. And only like slow mode is enabled. Maybe like not so much anymore. It used to be like pretty fast, like at the beginning of Toad hype, but it's kind of like, you know, died down a little bit. And I'm saying that like it's just been really good still, but I'm saying that I think people have become less like, there's a lot of lurkers, and there's like the main core chatters that are still around, which I interact with, and whoever wants to chat, they want to chat. But like at the beginning, there was just like a lot of chatting, and the mods had to put it in slow mode. Yeah, I think it's like when you get raided for the first time with like 1,000 viewers, and it's just like pa 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 pa, and that happens sometimes, you know. So, but, yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? Hey, you got to do what you got to do at some point. All right, we're going to stop right there. That was part 1 of my interview with Sunfyre TV. Check out all of her links in the description, and do subscribe to the podcast to hear part 2 coming up next week. Stick around, Scattered Hamlet. We'll be back later on, but first, we got news of the week coming right up on the Metal Robot Podcast. This week's Metal News Recap is brought to you by My Sanity.
Everything is so depressing! Why?
To stay up to date with the latest in the metal scene, check out themetalrobot.com for videos, reviews, press, and so much more. Now, back into the podcast.
Presented by themetalrobot.com. This is MRP News.
Big stories this week outside of the metal world, and it seems it's forcing its way into our society, like a conservative judge forcing their way into a woman's uterus. Oh, I'm sorry, did I spoil the first story?
The protests continue across the country in response to the leaked draft opinion on Roe v. Wade, which was published by Politico.
Your body, your choice. Your body, your choice. I'm pro-life because I'm a human being.
I don't believe that it is the state that should intervene with its heavy hand and make the decision.
Yeah, we can't avoid this, no matter how much I want to. So, okay, this podcast is not a place to have real-world discussions without, well, being an adult So I'm going to just preface this by saying I don't care what side of this issue you're on, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, this story is, in general, huge. So to recap for those wondering what the fuck is going on, Roe v. Wade is an old American court case that set a precedent about abortion rights in America, basically allowing Americans the right to abortions if they want it, and it was a huge case, and judges left and right, even if they are opposed to it, have agreed that the precedent is set. That's important to note because a leaked Supreme Court document shows Supreme Justice Alito announcing the decision to overturn that ruling, citing a bunch of different things that, let's be honest, I don't care about because who gives a shit? It's leaked, it's here, and we have the decision now. They basically want to overturn it in June or July, and some of those justices who voted to overturn it had previously stated said precedent when running to be inducted to the Supreme Court, leaving many to question if Supreme Court justices perjured themselves to get on the highest court of the land for life. Now, that's a discussion that's left for more mature audiences, I guess. This is not the kind of discussion we should be having on a comedy podcast. Now, there have been many reactions left and right about this from politicians, focusing way more on the leak than anything else for some reason, to late-night talk show hosts trying desperately to remain funny while talking about abortion rights, to the court of the internet being more diverse and polarized than ever despite Justice Alito claiming that abortion rights is what caused it, and even rock and metal musicians and artists reacting to it. Recently, of course, we saw David Draymond chime in with his point, showing that he's pro-choice, while also not being on either side. What? Okay, so you're pro-choice, but you also aren't taking a side. What? But of course, it's not all about whether or not someone's pro-choice or not. Again, many focusing on the leak from different angles, such as Zach Myers tweeting in response to Draymond, quote, "Leaks happen for purposes of chaos and panic, period." With Draymond rightly pointing out, quote, "There would have been chaos and panic whenever this one got out, leaked or otherwise." I mean, he is right. Like I said, there is a lot of passionate opinions about this topic. And look, think what you want on this, but let's make sure we're clear on what we should be focusing on. This is not a story about a leak, despite what people seem to think it is. To take a quote from Legal Eagles paraphrasing,
"The leak is a story, but it's not the story."
The story here is the overturning of this major precedent, as it's going to affect every discussion on the subject going forward, especially white families at the 4th of July barbecues. Now, the story is also about whether or not the Supreme Justices who voted for this, while also talking about it being an important precedent, perjured themselves in the running for Supreme Court Justice. Now, who knows at this point? I'm going to leave that discussion for legal analysts everywhere to nerd over until someone takes action to make that crystal clear. Then, in bands that can't keep their members longer than 5 seconds, let's talk about Cradle of Filth. Yep, the band parted ways with 2 more members this week, which isn't the shocking news. It's actually kind of sad that's not the shocking part. Seriously, Danny, what's going on over there? The shocking part is that one of the people leaving the band was Annabelle Iretny. Many Cradle fans were actually really happy with her on the last album, Existence is Futile, and it seems Cradle talked her up pretty greatly when she was introduced. But nope, as of the 4th of May, she and guitarist Richard Shaw are gone. This was announced in a statement from Danny Filth, where he acknowledged Richard's reasoning being because of other commitments, though as Metal Sucks pointed out, there are no other commitments to be found. Also, they never actually gave a reason for why Annabelle is leaving, other than announcing her successor, who was announced to be Zoe Mary Fedorov. Now, will they be able to keep Zoe and Donnie Burbage, who is filling in for Richard? Probably not. This band is notorious for being the Danny Filth show with an ever-changing backing band, but who knows really? I'm pretty sure we all know the answer, but who knows? Anything can happen. We already know what's going to happen. Fate knows, and so do all of us thanks to Wikipedia's band member timeline. Seriously, if you haven't seen Wikipedia's timeline graph for members, look at it at some point. It's insane. Okay, so I want to touch on this one really quickly because it's so fucking funny. Basically, Bob Larson, who's an evangelist, self-proclaimed exorcist, and pastor of the Spiritual Freedom Church in Phoenix, Arizona, has gone on a normal one lately. This particular clip went viral recently in relation to the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial going on right now. Now, you might be thinking, Why is a pastor talking about domestic abuse? And please tell me he thinks Amber Heard is right so I can confirm he's batshit crazy. Well, that's not what he's talking about, but don't worry, you can still call him batshit crazy. I'm gonna play the full clip for you here because it's worth hearing every single word coming out of his mouth. Take a listen.
There are such things as real pirate demons. I don't see them much in the mainland U.S. But when I'm in a coastal city, or when I'm ministering in the Caribbean, I see lots of pirate demons, and I've encountered them and cast them out. So this whole Jack Sparrow role, there's a bit of truth to that. And I wonder, did Depp get actual pirate demons from playing his Jack Sparrow role?
Excellent. No notes. Just the right amount of batshit with a pound of crazy. Excellent. This clip, of course, was posted to Christian_nightmares on Instagram, and the top comments include, quote, "That's enough internet for today," and "I hate it here," which is exactly the kind of response I would have hoped for in this. I expected nothing less, and you delivered. I salute thee. Then in tour news, if you want to see some metalcore and you didn't hate that last A Day to Remember record, they're going on tour. It was announced yesterday that the band will be joined by Beartooth, Bad Omens, The Ghost Inside, The Used, Movements, and Mongolia Park. I'll leave a link in the podcast description to all the show dates and which bands will be at that particular venue, though I do want to point out the fact that they're only doing 2 shows here in Canada, and I think it's slightly insulting, yet also completely understandable at the same time. I don't blame you. The tour starts on the 27th of July and will continue until the 29th of October. If you're interested, see if they're playing near you during that time. Tickets go on sale May 12th at 10 a.m. local time, according to a Facebook post, which, as someone who doesn't know where the fuck their local time is, means dip to me. But if you want to do the pre-sale access instead, you can join their Discord, which can be found on the band's Facebook post.
Hello, rock and roll fans. I'm honored to be standing inside the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm here to announce our 2022 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is now a topic of conversation within the metal community again, as the top 5 artists in the class of 2022 have been decided by voters, and get this, you're gonna be so shocked. Judas Priest and Rage Against the Machine didn't make the top 5. What shocker is that? Though Judas Priest came so damn close, only roughly like 30,000 votes behind Dolly Parton, who was number 5. Actually, at the time of recording this, I do have to make a bit of amendment here. They were inducted into a different category of musical excellence, but still many people were not satisfied with that. Now, there have been reactions all over about this, many of whom are questioning why Judas Priest and Rage were snubbed by the votes, and the answer, I can tell you right now, is probably as simple as it seems. People didn't vote. We as metalheads see these kinds of institutions as, quote, not the true judges of great metal music, which I'm fully aware when said out loud is so elitist to say, but it's true. We think this way about the Hall of Fame, the Grammys, and any other institution with votes to determine a winner of a reward. Now, the problem is that when that happens, those who don't think like that immediately see moments like this when their favorite bands aren't inducted as a betrayal of the metal ideals and a denial of our community. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't exist, Grammys, but in the case of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we kinda fucked ourselves here. So, if you are one of the many beer-chugging metalheads who are disappointed with this, or even if you think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame doesn't matter, who cares? We have a chance in these kinds of races to have some sort of impact in the mainstream culture. Besides, if we don't, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will continue to induct the artists who aren't considered rock when there's even the slightest chance that we can get a metal band who has had a significant impact on rock and metal to get recognized for how epic and amazing and impactful that we truly are. Alright, and that about does it for this week's news. Send your reactions and comments to any of the stories talked about on my socials at The Metal Robot on Facebook and Twitter. Also, check out themetalrobot.com for more news and press that can be found throughout the week. Don't go anywhere. Scattered Hamlet will be joining us in a moment. This is the Metal Robot Podcast.
Have you been on YouTube looking for reviews and thought,
wow, I'm so bored?
Then you haven't watched Metal Robot Reviews.
I missed the part where I'm no longer bored.
Well, take a look.
Symbols! I'm gonna offend so many people. Shit, I was supposed to review now, wasn't I? Fuck!
I don't know what that was. You just played a bunch of clips.
And it's all on YouTube.
Wait, who was that?
Don't ask, just subscribe. Search up Metal Robot Reviews on YouTube to find all the latest videos in the metal scene, including metal reviews, reactions, interviews, and the fan favorite 10-second purge.
Subscribe now.
Metal addicts call it symbiosis between extreme metal and classical music. Cult Metal Flick says cinematic landscapes collide with atmosphere. Tom McKay says it's the reason my veins are filled with caffeine. Wait, what?
I can't help it. I'd rather write awesome metal than sleep. Give me a fucking ambient, please!
Call to the Demon Sultan is out now on all streaming platforms.
And while you're at it, pick up some cool merch by going to metalrobotreviews.creatorspring.com or check the links in the podcast description.
Stream now. You're listening to MRP, the Metal Robot Podcast.
We're back with Scattered Hamlet. In the last episode, we spoke about the band's origins, the shenanigans they got up to, which includes huffing Jakar to write music. And all in all, it was a chaotic interview. And we get to wrap that up here. Here is the Scattered Hamlet Podcast, Part 2. I know you guys tend to incorporate, aside from the metal instrumentation, you guys also incorporate a couple other things that are traditionally not of the metal genre. I have a personal favorite that I have. But what was your favorite non-metal instrument to bring on? Specifically, I know with stereo overthrow.
Yeah, train whistle, I think.
Train whistle?
This fella right here.
Jesus. That's a train whistle?
This is a Jaws harp, and this is one of the most amazing Appalachian instruments of all time.
Funny thing is, that's actually my favorite, to be honest. And it's only because I didn't know, I saw in the promo specifically that that Rich is the one who plays the jaw harp, correct?
Well, actually, I played it in the studio.
Oh, you played it in the studio.
And then Rich went home and mastered it and then asked to come back and overdub my Jaws harp. And I'm like, we're not overdubbing the Jaws harp. And then he played all the stuff he learned how to do. And I was like, okay, we're overdubbing the Jaws harp. We overdubbed the Jaws harp. And it was,
oh my God. Yeah, because I saw like in the promo description that I saw like that the Jaws harp was there.
He goes, I want to be credited with playing Jaws harp. I'm like, dude, I thought that elevated the album, and we're definitely gonna do it. So.
Definitely, yeah. But I saw that in like the promo lineup, and I was like, I didn't know what the fuck it was, to be honest, because I'm from like the suburbs of Canada. Like I don't know jack shit about that instrument. I looked it up afterwards, and I'm like, oh, I think I know what this is. But at the same time,
it's sometimes called a Jews harp, which isn't anti-Semitic. It's
no.
It's a slang for it. But that's why when people ask us, because we already look like hillbillies, you don't want to be like throwing around a word like that because they'd be like, "Whoa, brother!" I'm like, "No, that's what we call it, a Jaws harp. It's a jaw harp, you know." But yeah, so it's one of the two things. But I believe I just want to throw this out there. You said you're from the suburbs of Canada. There's some amazing things I'd like to discuss about Canada right now.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay.
One of them is that I stand by and I will stand on this mountain until someone pushes me over. Bryan Adams' Reckless album is a fucking masterpiece.
Hard to argue with that.
That is amazing. That record from freaking top to bottom. You bust out Summer of '69. I get the white man overbite going. I love that shit. Canada has given us many awesome things. I can start rattling them off, but I won't bore you with that because you already live there and you know. But for anybody who doesn't know, we got Rush, we've got Triumph, we've got freaking Bryan, we got freaking Corey Hart, we got Snow, Trailer Park Boys. Snow won't turn a former.
Oh, fucking Trailer Park Boys. This is awesome.
We have a song called Green Bastard. We actually wrote about Bubbles.
Yes.
Boys pro wrestling. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we're big fans of. Nate toured on guitar with us for a long time. He was from Canada, and then he got deported back to Canada. So I've been playing most of his guitar parts.
Oh my God. Oh fuck. That's all.
All right, sorry, that was my Canadian tangent.
That's okay. Hey, you know what? Any chance to talk about Canada on this show is amazing. I love doing that.
And also, when Charles Bronson played the Mad Trapper in Death Hunt when he went out there with his he went out there with freaking Apollo Creed, and he's Apollo Creed. He went out with Apollo Creed. He was Mountie. That's one of the greatest movies of all time. Like, I watched that shit, and it makes me very happy. I actually have the same rifle upstairs because I saw Charles Bronson Death Hunt. Like, sometimes I just walk around my yard with a trapper hat on, just freaking scare people.
Death Hunt.
Be like, yeah,
Death Hunt. Yeah.
I'll pull them cold fillings out of your teeth. So.
All right. Anyways, so going back to what I mentioned, I mentioned that you talked with that Aussie metal guy, and in that video you talked about Adam specifically. You talked about how the music video making process is not really your thing. What aspect of it is not for you? Like, is there an individual thing that you're just like, it turns you off from it, or is it the whole process that you're not into?
Well, the funny thing is, I love music videos. Like, I could sit there, and I do, like, for hours. I will watch music videos. I think they're the most amazing things. And it's like, a lot of times, like, it can get me into a band that I necessarily, just, might have not given a chance otherwise. But for me, the whole process of sitting there, like, anything that involves, like, I've done TV stuff and movie shit. It's all so fucking long and boring. Like, you're just there, and you have to do things over and over again. You're lip syncing your own music, which is just so bizarre.
Oh.
And it's the longest day, like to me, it's just not my thing. Like, I love the way they come together, and I'm always so glad we did it. But like the whole process to me is just, is not one of my favorite things to do. I mean, maybe these guys, like it better. I don't know.
It was pretty sweet how we got dressed up in black metal paint.
Yeah, well,
that was pretty sweet. That made the day a little more tolerable. But other than that,
yeah, then you got hillbilly children like us running around with black metal paint on, chasing each other with swords and stuff. Like,
real swords.
Yeah, they give us like real swords, so like someone's getting hit with something. Like next year, ching, like it's like then they're like retouching up our makeup and stuff. And I'm like, dude, don't stab me.
I stab your it to a
Yeah, I was like, yeah. So anyway, that was pretty cool, And we were down. We're filming it close to Blacksville, West Virginia, and that area is known for a poor little girl that got killed for, like, somebody killed her for Slender Man or some crazy shit like that. That's the most famous.
Shit, yeah, I heard about that.
Most famous, yeah. See, there you go. That happened in this little weird ass town in West Virginia. We were just outside of that. So so that's like, if you go to their Wikipedia page, it's like notable people, and you click on it, they're like, oh, someone killed for Slender Man. Very bizarre and terrible, and but it was like that's. So we kind of were like, we're in the sticks, like that was, we want to go like film down there by the meth trailers and stuff. I'm like, get my gun, man. Like, get my 45. Freaking get out of here, meth head.
Get out of here.
Put a little red laser on you.
I love this.
I'm getting old, so I have to use the laser beam on my pistol, to like put on the get now.
Is it on you?
Yeah, is it on you? You see it? Tell me what's there. I'm gonna put one in you.
Even better, make sure the laser is adjusted properly, because otherwise, if it's pointed at you, just misses you by like 45 degrees.
Yeah. I got my shit out of man.
Okay, good. So, but next one, you guys have been clearly in the industry for quite some time. You've seen the shit from the shit. What is something about the industry today that you would hope would change by the near future? Yeah, now we're getting to the real questions. Buckle in! You're only here for the ride!
Honestly, I mean, for me, and you can see it starting to come back a little bit. Like, I know you can't like go back in time for like the way things were and stuff, but like I don't know. There's just people are starting to get excited about vinyl again, and like there's just something cool about a physical product. You know what I mean? Like that actually, like, you have this big thing with piece art. I have a huge vinyl collection upstairs, so I was really excited about that. So for me, I still like the art, and what I mean by that is the art of making an album instead of just a single to go to Spotify. Like to be like, here's your algorithm single. Like, I wish that we could get more back into like full album artistry, and the only way to really do that is if an album is valued as an album and not just the algorithm that it can match on something. So I think for me, it would be, hearing, imagine think of how much music we could be missing because of non-album stuff. Like Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. That's a fucking album.
That would be
the finish. So what are they going to do? Like Pink Floyd goes to a label now, and Dave Gilmour and freaking Roger Waters, they're sitting there. They're like, oh, let's just take Money and release that as a single.
That's too long.
People would riot.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, just Money is a single, and then we're gonna put this song here, and we'll release that first, and then we'll have like a B-side, and it would be ridiculous. The whole point of that, the whole epicness of that album and everything about it would be completely lost because it's not from top to bottom. It's not a journey. It's not like when you come around to the second side of Power Slave and freaking Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, and what comes around and you're like, oh yeah, like that. Yeah, it's just a different thing. And I just think a lot of that's, lost right now.
Yo. Okay. So how TV shows on streaming platforms as well will release an episode a week, right?
Right.
Can you imagine if Pink Floyd did that with The Fucking Wall?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's and honestly, you said different influences, for me, Dave Gilmour is one of my favorite guitar players of all time because he doesn't need to play all the notes. He just plays the right ones at the right time.
Yes.
He's a sniper. He's not a machine gun, you see that, see how fast I can play. And, Dave Gilmour is like, cool, son, watch this. And he hits the right note in the right place. You're like, ooh, that was fucking sweet.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it was like, he's a sniper. Yeah, he's a sniper. He brought the snake finger. He fucking killed it, man.
He's not fucking Kerry King, just abusing the shit out of that fucking whammy bar. I love Kerry King, don't get me wrong, but that whammy bar has been through some shit.
You want to hear 2 Kerry King stories since you guys said you're scared of them? I got 2. Ready?
Go for it, yes.
Here it goes. All right, 1. First Kerry King story. First time I ever saw Kerry King, we were in the VIP section of the Golden God Medal Awards. So we're all backstage. And now imagine that you're at a bar and every metal god is there. And there's even tiers of metal gods because Dave Mustaine had his own room and they had that's different metal god room. But in this room was Vinnie Paul, everybody and I'm trying to think, there was Slipknot, Trivium, Hatebreed. There's so many bands. I can't even fucking think of it. I could just rattle them off. It was you're just looking around and you're like, this is fucking metal, central. And I go to walk in the bathroom and I'm walking in, the door just flings open. And I'm just standing there and standing there right there is, and he's a good bit shorter than me, but it didn't matter was it's fucking Kerry King. And he's just standing there. And as far as I was concerned, I didn't just see Kerry King in the bathroom. There was hellfire behind me. I was just there was hellfire. And it was to me, I was before they see the light, I'm going to die. This is Kerry King. And he's taking me to fucking hell. And he just said, he's excuse me. And I was just and I just stepped aside and he walked past me and I was that was the baddest thing ever. And then I just peed and I was the end of it, Kerry King story 1. Kerry King story 2. This was, I believe he was playing Dean guitars. We were at the Dean booth at, I'm a Dean artist as well. We're at the Dean booth at the NAMM show. Mm-hmm. And there's these stairs, and at the bottom of the stairs they had one of those VIP things that you clip off, so civilians can't walk up there. You're no, you're not VIP. And Kerry King's coming down the stairs, and nobody else could. I was just kind of standing up by myself, and I see Kerry King walking downstairs. He's very pretty fucking metal, he's just Kerry King and those steps. And he gets to the bottom, and he tries to step over that thing, and he trips.
Oh no!
and he almost fucking ate shit, right? You watch this crazy, he's the most metal human being ever. And he almost eats shit. And he gets up and looks around to see if anyone saw him. And it was only me. And I just looked at him and I'm sitting here and he looked at me and I looked at him and I was that was metal as fuck. And he just started gave me a grin and just kept walking away. I was that was awesome. Kerry King was fucking scary. And that was very metal. Those are my 2 Kerry King stories.
I saw Vince Neil fall head over heels down the fucking stairs. And Lindsley in Nashville, and it was the best thing I ever saw.
No class like this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Vince. We watch Rock in Rio with Motley Crue a lot on tour when Vince Neil because Vince Neil hits like about every other word. Like when he's like, "Whoa, lonely night, stay." Like, shout.
You ever see the fucking the Kickstart My Heart misheard lyrics video on YouTube?
Yeah.
Have you guys seen? That's the fucking best shit. Big Mac 103.
Dude, and you know what? Take my money, man. I would go see Motley Crue every fucking time. Like every time you got that Vince killed out, dude, you can hit less words and I'll still come see you. Just like I said there, be like, yeah, we're gonna shout at the Devils. It's gonna be freaking awesome. So, yeah.
Dude could be speaking fluent drunkenese. You'd be like, I'm going. Can you take my money, please?
Everybody's talking about it now with like all their memes and stuff. I was like, Vince has been singing like that for freaking since the 90s. Like, I was like, Vince has been missing words. That's what he does it on the albums. Like, it's like, you know, like some of them here, I'm like, that's what makes it awesome. Like, it's that. See, to me, I always believe like being a front man is 90% attitude and 10% ability. So he has that 90% attitude to just walk away. And you can do some shit and walk away and be like, that was the best thing you ever heard. And Vince Neil will convince you of that. Like, listen to fucking, this is what I double down on with this. If you listen to the isolated vocal tracks to Running with the Devil, right? And you hear David Lee Roth like, yeah, like it's all by itself. And like if you were just sitting in the studio, you'd be like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah, but you know, when Dave was done with that, he walked away and was like, that was the best shit you ever heard. And he walked out of there and he's right.
Yeah, he doesn't walk, but like
he just freaking he karate kicked it. He went back out. He probably went surfing or he went mountain climbing when he was done. He got steam pop and they went on a cliff somewhere. And then I listened. I was like, yeah, this is the best thing I've ever heard.
It's the best thing, yeah. Jesus. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
I don't know, man.
Going back to the topic about the music industry, what is like going into it, when you were going into it, what was the biggest misconception of the music industry that you quickly realized was
all of it?
Fuck, no, all of it?
Yeah, everything that I thought it would be. It's just so different. So it's just you thought it was going to be ridiculous because you always hear people tell you those stories about like, you know, business things and stuff. Yeah, it's way worse. You know, conversations with record labels and like sound people, like meeting people from other bands. It's ridiculous. It's a profession that makes no sense. I think Joe Walsh said it best. Nobody knows what's going on, so just act like you know. And like and the more I'm around, I'm like, yeah, nobody knows what the fuck's happening here. Like you show up to like a huge festival, it's like no one knows what's going on. Like it's like this is just completely random, and it somehow and it works, you know, or it doesn't. Or it doesn't. No. Yeah, and you just keep going. You know? So yeah, that was my thing. You know, it's just it's been an odd journey. You know, like and now. You know, there's less money in rock and metal than there was at this point. So you have to wear a lot more hats, you know, like, so a lot of the things that like, bands our size and stuff in a different era would have more of like a support structure around you, you know? So like, instead now, you know, we're wearing a lot more hats. You can't just play an instrument, you know what I mean? Like you just can't do one thing, you know, it's like, cause you've got to like do many things, you know, like it's, you know, like Sean he can take apart an amplifier, you know, like Grant can edit video, you know, it's like, it's, you know, there's like the more things you can do yourself in the, you know, and not get money out, you know, you can, you know, do better. And that's different, you know, cause there's just not as much, you know, the more you pay for that, you know, you're just kind of chipping away at an iceberg, you know.
It's a very expensive hobby. It's basically like what someone told me. I forget who it was, but that quote still sticks with me. Cause like, holy shit, you're right.
It can be, you know, it's always expensive, you know, but like, you know, it takes, if you can find your niche, like you can, you know, we've been touring and, you know, we're doing all right now, you know, but we've been touring in the green for a long time, you know, like, and it's like, and we know bands that bigger than us that aren't because they don't know how to manage, you know, their money, you know, and we learned how to do that from being punk rockers, like going buying a shoestring, you know, like but, you know, if you start, you know, dishing out money and like walking around like you're, you know, Motley Crue or something, you're not making Motley Crue money. Yeah. You're like, yeah, I got my 4 guitar techs. I was like, you know, well, You're not.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's like you're not Kiss, brother. You know, like did your guarantee pay for your 4 guitar techs? Because that's pretty much, you know, we've opened for bands, and I know what their guarantee is, and I know how many people they had there, and I know how much merch they sold, and I see their tour bus outside, and without even busting out my calculator, I'll be like, son, you're operating in the red big time right now.
Oh.
You know, like it's just, I was like, just fucking economics, man. You know?
We also understand the economic benefit of the Chinese buffet.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to maximize your food intake? We know what's up. You just give us fucking Chinese buffet.
Don't food intake and output.
Don't practice
Chinese buffet.
buffets. That's what you got to do.
Yep.
Yeah, if for whatever reason you only take 2 things from this interview, let those 2 things be the only things you take away from
Totally agree. Yeah, rattling around the old noggin.
Totally agree.
You can thank us later.
Don't take any wooden nickels.
Exactly. Well, the third thing actually that you should take away from this is the answer to this very most important question that I ask every single band and every single artist that comes on this show. It's a very important question, and I hope that this answer will change everything for everybody.
No, most of what I say will change people's lives.
Well, the question is, if you could be any cereal box character, who would you be?
That's a solid question.
Tony the Tiger.
I didn't really think about that. I got my answer. I got my answer. You want to throw it down, Sean, first?
Count Chocula, without a doubt.
See, now it's a tie.
He's seasonal.
Now I don't know if I.
Seasonal.
Yeah, but listen. Now I don't know if I want to be the Lucky Charms guy or if I want to be Boo Berry.
That's big.
Yeah, but if I'm a Lucky Charm, I got a tiger. I got a pot of gold, bitch. I'll buy a tiger. When Mike Tyson got a pot of gold, what did he do? He bought a tiger. Well, I'll get out of jail for a pot of gold.
Lucky never has anything because kids are always stealing his shit.
They never get his Lucky Charms. They never get his Lucky Charms. His gold. Yeah. He gets his gold. You'll never get his Lucky Charms.
Nah, you're going to be Tony the Tiger because they're great. Bam. That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah. Conor McGregor might be the freaking Lucky Charms guy.
Oh, thanks for watching this video. We're going to end it after that shitty pun there. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, I love the fact that this question turned into an immediate debate. Like, well, great. You pick Count Chocula. Now I got to go pick something else. Fuck. What are you got to pick? No, I'm not doing that. Fuck.
Diggle smacks.
Oh, what about Buffalo Bill?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Captain Crunch.
Oh, I changed my answer. I'm Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch.
Yeah, I changed my answer.
Yeah, this is a good question. I feel this is probably one of the best questions we've ever asked.
Yeah, we're going to go on hours.
Jesus Christ. I swear to God, how many times have you guys changed your answer in this like one section here? I swear to God.
You know I'm going to double down on the Lucky Charms guy.
I'm Captain Crunch.
I think I'm Buffalo Bill now. Sorry.
Oh my God.
No, I'm doubling down. I'm still fucking. They're not getting me Lucky Charms.
Rich is Frankenberry.
Rich is Frankenberry. It's pretty much. It's a done deal.
Holy shit! This is gonna be fun to edit. Okay, well,
if anybody wants to come to our shows and we're playing in Akron tomorrow, Geddy Lee's gonna be on bass. When does this come? Geddy Lee's gonna be playing bass for us for 3 shows.
Sorry, Richard. Sorry.
So, Geddy's gonna be playing bass after he heard this in Canada, and he's gonna come down because Rush is not playing right now. So some stuff. He's gonna bring his keyboard too.
I'm not gonna. I can't tell if you're actually serious or not. I can't. It's the dryness. The dryness of your tone is just like, yeah, we got Geddy Lee coming down. He'll be playing for us, and he'll be doing jumping jacks while he's doing so. He'll be doing some cartwheels, and while we have it, James Hetfield will be walking out.
Yeah, I throw shit like that out, and the funny thing is, like, people think I made something up. Then I'll throw a picture on social media. They're like, "Oh shit, he wasn't lying about that one." Could be like completely like made up. Like that was completely made up. You just reminded me of Canada, and Rich was in like somewhere else, and I was like, oh, Geddy Lee's gonna play with this.
Well, either way, thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Stereo Overthrow is available now. You can get it through the links down in the description. Guys, anything else you want to shout out? You've got like 5 seconds to do so. Go.
Captain Crunch is the best cereal.
You'll never get me Lucky Charms.
Buffalo Bill is waffly.
And keep your face out of your ears.
And remember that God gave rock and roll to Paul Stanley, and then he gave it to you, to us.
That's the generosity of the Paul.
Well, all right then. We're
Now
gonna
please cue up. God gave rock and roll to you. Gave rock and roll to you. Gave rock and roll to everyone. Sing it now. If you're gonna sing, you gotta sing Beth. You're the drummer. All right.
Oh my God. I'm going to have fun with the edit of this one. All right. Well, thank you guys again. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it. Okay.
It was a pleasure. And that was Scattered Hamlet. You know, to this day, I still don't know exactly how they took over the podcast, but took over the podcast they did. And I think we're all better humans for it. Except for me, of course. I'm still the cold robot you know and love. All right, let's do our episodic cliffhanger tease right here on the Metal Robot Podcast.
You just listened to MRP, the Metal Robot Podcast.
The Reign of Fire has begun, so let's wrap this up and tell you what is coming up next week. After 3 weeks of nothing, it's refreshing to be back on a weekly basis. But we will continue our talk with Sunfyre TV and dive further into the crazy world that is her Twitch channel and TikTok. But we'll also start up a conversation with death thrash metal band Demiricus, specifically guitarist Scott Wilson, about all the shit the band went through in the mid to late 2000s, which caused a 15-year hiatus. All this and more next week. In the meantime, thanks for listening to the Metal Robot Podcast. You can follow the show on the internet, YouTube, Metal Robot Reviews, Facebook and Twitter at The Metal Robot, Instagram at @The.MetalRobot. You can also check out everything Metal Robot on TheMetalRobot.com for videos, reviews, press, and so much more. I'm Tom McKay. If you enjoyed this episode and you want more, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and I'll see you in the mosh pit next time. Have a good night.